Greetings, football managers and fans, and welcome to episode 5, season 5 of our Build a Nation's journey with Górnicze Klub Sportowy Katowice in Poland. Now, at the end of the last episode, we ended season 4 as champions, and the first thing we'll be doing here is going through some transfers and a couple of other things, and then we'll jump straight into the highlights of qualifiers for the Champions League, and let us get started. Right, so first things first, we've had a few transfers that we've made. We bought 3 players and brought 1 player in a free, Uroš Subotic here, who joined us from Brodarac in the lower divisions in Serbia. Now, he is more so a long-term project kind of player, someone who's going to slot in the midfield once he develops a little bit. At 18 years of age, I'm going to be sending him straight back down to the under-19 squad, where he'll be spending all of this season and probably most of next season as well. Now, we brought in Rudi Almeida from Famalicão in Portugal, and he is kind of seen as a backup. Now, I did kind of experiment with the tactic a little bit again, which I'll show off in a bit. And he joined us for 550,000. So he's going to be a backup player to play as a shadow striker in the current system that we're going to be using for this season. Then we have Jesus Barco, joining us from Sport Boys. I think they're in Peru as well. I mean, he is Peruvian, so it would make sense. And he is good as a defensive midfielder, but his role will more so be playing as a box-to-box kind of player for us, which he's not great at finishing or dribbling. And his technique could use a little bit of work, but that's all right for now. And finally, Leo Duarte, joining us from Vila Nova in Brazil for $325,000. And he is going to be getting a lot of starts this season. He's a decent right back who could play either as a wing back or a full back. And in our new system that I'm trying out this year, we are using a full back on either side. So on the outgoing side of things, we've let Mateo Nuts go on a free, same with Dejan Stanivukovic. Valentin Acuna went out on loan, and Damak came in for Jakov Anton Vasil, who is our Croatian right winger in our championship winning season. And they gave us 2.1 million, which was his release clause, so we had to let him go there, and we'll be looking for a replacement. Now, as I mentioned earlier, the tactic is looking different. So what I'm trying to do here is replicate the Hungarian system from the late 1950s, early 1960s, where essentially they had 4 players in attack, or 4 players or 6 players in total going forward. Basically, the fullbacks only have the instruction to take more risks and get further forward. The wingers will both shoot more often and sit narrower, along with their standard inside forward instructions. And the shadow striker will shoot more often and roam from position. And again, with it combined with his default shadow striker instructions, the one guy up front will only move into channels, and that'll be it. So this 4-2-3-1 morphs into a kind of like a 4-2-4, but not really close to a 4-2-4 system, since we'll have upwards of 6 players in forward positions once the fullbacks make their way forward. The keeper will be playing as a sweeper, keeper, and defend. And that'll be it for the tactic. Hopefully it does well. So our schedule sees us facing off against GKS Katowice in the Super Puchar Polski final. After which we have our season opening match against Legia Warszawa, followed by the Champions League qualifiers. And that is it in terms of the early season schedule. We do have some tough matches coming up, and hopefully we can go deep and maybe even qualify for the Champions League this season. But it will be tough because there are some very, very tough opponents will be awaiting us in the latter qualifying rounds. So now let us have a look at some of the results. And here we are on the results page. So we ended up winning the Super Cup against GKS Katowice with a scoreline of 2-1, but our league campaign was not that great, at least not the start of it. We did get our wins against Havnar Boltfilag. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't speak Faroese, I guess. 6-1 at home, and then we drew away 2-2, which brought us to the next round, where we met up with Celtic, losing 2-1 at home and drawing 1-1 away. And following that, we dropped into Europa League playoff, where we met with Futbolski Klub Sarajevo from Bosnia and drew 2-2 away and won 2-0 at home to qualify for Europa League. Now, our Europa League campaign started off pretty well with 2-0 win against Honka at home, a surprise 3-2 win versus Olympiacos away from home, then a draw against Panathinaikos 2-2, and for our next few matches in Europe we have Ludogorets, Leipzig, Sparta Prague, Rangers, and Marseille to finish off the league phase. In terms of the domestic league, like I said earlier, it didn't start off that well, and we just kept drawing matches, apart from a few wins here and there, which put us in about 5th place by the time where this part of the schedule cuts off on the 27th of October. So, or I should say on the 24th of October, because that was the last league match. So we'll have to pick it up and do a whole lot better if we're hoping to qualify for Europe next season. Either that or win the cup if we want to remain in Europe. And here we are at the end of the season. And as you see, I did end up reverting to our previous tactic. Hungarian replication experiment will be put on pause, as I'll need to do more testing outside of this save file. But it is what it is, so we're going back to our 5-2-3 system. And with that being said, the results have not been as good as I would have liked. So we were knocked out of Europa League by Sevilla in the knockout playoff round in the second leg, losing away 4-0 after winning 3-2 at home. We did lose to Rangers as expected. We did get absolutely destroyed by Marseille 3-0 as well, as expected. And Sparta Prague also beat us. At least we managed to get out of the league phase and get to the knockout playoff round at the very, very least. Now, in the Puchar Polski, we made it to the semi-final, where we lost to Pogoń Szczecin. I've been saying that wrong all along. and I probably still am. But we lost to them 3-1 at home in the semi-final, as I said earlier. But the league fixtures have not been that kind to us. I mean, we did get a few wins, but they're mostly draws and losses otherwise. Which brings us to the league standings and our final league position, ending the season in 8th place. Now, I didn't make any additional signings, so everything remained the same, and things will be changing slightly for season 6, pardon me. But that brings us to the end of the video, and as usual, if you enjoyed the content, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you back for season 6.